I want to leave my girlfriend who was roped. My name's Tanner, and my life was pretty ordinary until a few months ago. I work a 9 to 5 in IT, and I've been dating Emily for about 3 years. We met in college, and she was everything I ever wanted. Smart, funny, and drop-dead gorgeous. Life was good, or so I thought. It all started on a Friday night. Emily and I had plans to go out with some friends to this new bar downtown. We were both excited, dressed to impress, and ready to unwind after a hectic week. The night was perfect until it wasn't. At some point, Emily got separated from the group. One minute she was there, laughing and taking shots with us, and the next, she was gone. We searched for her frantically, but she was nowhere to be found. I was scared out of my mind. Hours later, we found her outside the bar, looking disheveled and terrified. She was clutching her phone, and her makeup was smeared from crying. She wouldn't say much, just that she wanted to go home. The ride back was silent, the air thick with unspoken fears. That night, Emily confided in me that she had been roped. She sobbed in my arms, her body shaking uncontrollably. I was in shock, anger boiling inside me. I felt helpless, like I had failed to protect her. I wanted to find the bastard and make him pay, but Emily didn't want to involve the police. She just wanted to try and move on. The weeks that followed were a blur of emotions. Emily was a shell of her former self. She quit her job, rarely left the apartment, and barely spoke. I tried to be supportive, but nothing seemed to help. She would flinch at my touch, and intimacy became non-existent. Our once vibrant relationship was now overshadowed by a dark cloud. I suggested therapy, but Emily refused. She was adamant about dealing with it in her own way. I was patient at first, understanding that healing takes time, but as the months dragged on, my patience started to wear thin. Our conversations turned into arguments, and I found myself resenting her for something that wasn't her fault. One night, after yet another fight, I went out for a drink alone. I needed to clear my head. That's when I met Olivia. She was sitting at the bar, nursing a drink, and we struck up a conversation. She was a breath of fresh air, someone who didn't know about the weight I was carrying. We talked for hours, and for the first time in months, I felt a spark of happiness. Guilt consumed me the next morning. I woke up next to Olivia, and the realization of what I had done hit me like a ton of bricks. I had cheated on Emily, the woman who had been through hell. I felt like the biggest piece of shit on the planet. I left Olivia's place without saying much and drove home, my mind racing. When I got home, Emily was still asleep. I stood in the doorway, watching her. She looked so fragile, and my heart ached with guilt and confusion. I couldn't bring myself to tell her what I had done. It would destroy her. But I also couldn't keep pretending that everything was okay between us. Days turned into weeks, and I continued to see Olivia in secret. It was like an addiction. She made me feel alive again, something I hadn't felt in a long time. But the more time I spent with her, the more my guilt grew. I was living a double life, torn between my duty to Emily and my need for happiness. One night, everything came to a head. Emily found a text from Olivia on my phone. She confronted me, tears streaming down her face. "Who is she, Tanner? Who the fuck is Olivia?" Her voice was trembling, a mixture of hurt and rage. I couldn't lie anymore. I told her everything. The look on her face was soul-crushing. She was devastated, and I knew I had broken her even more. She screamed, threw things, and told me to get out. I left, not knowing where to go. I ended up at Olivia's place, but even being there felt wrong. The next few days were hell. Emily blocked me on everything, and I felt like my world was falling apart. I wanted to make things right, but I didn't know how. I reached out to her friends, hoping they could help me talk to her, but she wanted nothing to do with me. It's been a month since that night. Emily and I haven't spoken, and I'm still staying with Olivia, but my mind is a mess. I love Emily, but I don't know if we can ever go back to how things were. The rope changed everything, and my infidelity only made things worse. I feel like a coward for wanting to leave, but I don't know if staying is the right thing either. I'm torn between my love for Emily and my need to move on. Part of me thinks I should leave her, give her the space she needs to heal without me complicating things. But another part of me feels like I owe it to her to try and make things right, to be there for her in her darkest hour. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I have to make a decision soon. Living in limbo is killing me. I just hope that whatever I choose, it's the right thing for both of us.